Despite the hours of grueling preparation and travel, and despite lap after lap of perfection at the wheel, the difference between winning and losing can still come down to one split-second decision. In Adelaide, James McFadden was put in this very position. After leading every lap of the George Tatnall Cup, he approaches a lap car with second place Steve Lyons right behind him. On the last corner of the last lap, he has a decision to make. Go high or go low. He chooses wrong.
Lyons is coming. Here we go. Final lap. Final corner. Lyons goes to the top and he gets him. You are joking.
He loses by just 0.4 of a second, close to the amount of time he had to make the decision that ultimately lost him the race. It's a fraction of a second that he'll think about for a week as he travels over 2,500 kilometres to the next race in WA. The Western Swing is the final leg of the ENZED World Series Sprintcar calendar. By now, only the best remain. The Nullarbor filters out the championship pretenders and leaves us with the contenders. 2 Americans remain. Both haven't had the impact they would have liked so far. Driving for West Aussie teams, the Golden State Speedways offer a chance for redemption. Then there's Lyons, currently second in the points and running out of time to close the gap to McFadden. His trip west is all about carrying momentum off turn 4 in Adelaide and into his team's home race in Albany. 4.5 hours drive away from Perth, Albany is WA's 6th biggest city and another draw card of the southwest. With a history of whaling and a stunning jagged coastline, this place feels just like Warrnambool, right down to the cool summer weather. Attwell Park is the speedway that will host the 10th instalment of the story that is ENZED World Series Sprint Cars, presented by Hog's Breath Cafe. Better pack a cardi as we unleash those things with wings here in Albany.
ENZED World Series Sprintcars has arrived in the West. G'day everybody and welcome to round number 10 of World Series, coming to you from Attwell Park in Albany. A great little speedway, 450 metres in length, 10 degrees of banking in the corners. Should be great racing tonight on the clay. We did sneak in one quick stop on the way over and manage them up, so let's check out how the points look after round 9. Well, the good news for all the local Albany fans is that Stephen Lyons managed to ping just a few points back on James McFadden, but I mean really it's still a very commanding lead. How good is this battle for third though? Shane Stewart and Luke Dillon dead even on points after manage up, and they're competing for the number 1 contractor driver spot at the minute. And also good to see Sean Bradford, a strong West Aussie racer, sneaking his way into the top 10 after that last round. Well, that Manjimup A main was fast and dramatic, and in the end it was the Diamond Bay Motorsport W26 driven by Ryan Farrell that took out the win. With more on how that race panned out, let's take you to your ENZED World Series Sprint Cars commentator, Wade Oranger.
Thank you, Chad. This is a very, very big, fast, scary place. Manjimup used to be back in the day a white clay, almost more like the colour of James McFadden's top wing there. It's still ferociously fast, and it's unique in that you run downhill into turn 1 and 2 and you run uphill into turn 3 and 4. There is Mark Wells and Taylor Milling doing a pretty good job too out of Kalgoorlie in that totally workwear number 25. Somebody who was just lethal, Jack Perkins, was Shane Stewart in the Monster 7.
Yeah, great to be down here in the south of Western Australia. Cool little track, this Manjimup, and Shane Stewart in that monster machine that you touched on is finding some form late in the season.
Going around Daniel Harding there in that One Life Mercedes-Benz entry, coming up now on the MAIOLO 99 car of Jamie MAIOLO. In fact, Brad MAIOLO pretty handy around this place as well, but just look at that. He's only a little bloke in terms of his height, but in other places he's overly compensated, Shane Stewart. He runs very hard around a place where you really have to have a deep voice to get around here quick.
Yeah, it's always good to come to these high-speed circuits. The TV doesn't really show a little bit of undulation there into turn 3. It comes uphill and then back down now here out of turn 4. It's downhill run into turn 1. Really cool track.
So Jamie MAIOLO looking extremely stout in that number 99 car. Trent Pigden too, very good for him to be home and starting to race at a few tracks at least that he's seen before, unlike the majority of the World Series schedule for him. Once again, Shane Stewart just unstoppable. Brad MAIOLO looking very good in the Australian Produce Brokers, number 77 Osquip Industries car. Stephen Lyons started on the front row alongside Ryan Farrell for the 30-lap A-Main. Luke Dillon, very strong here tonight as well. Last year, this was a remarkable round. We had quite a few engines blow and some real drama. The year before was exactly the same, where David Murcott crashed spectacularly into Robbie Farr, and the championship was pretty well decided right here. Of course, we have a few more rounds in Western Australia after this one. Just watching Ryan Farrell clearing out while we see the battle between Brad MAIOLO and Daniel Harding.
It's cool to have Ryan Farrell in the championship, a local Western Australian. He's got some serious speed on board that machine. As we see Steve Lyons making a bit of progress through the field. Both Ryan Farrell and Steve Lyons used to drive for that team, the Monty Motorsports team. It's now driven by Shane Stewart.
Mozzie Howe starting to find his feet as well in that number 14 car, the Tasmanian, who's become very much a part of the furniture in World Series Sprintcars. A lot of the teams just like the way Mozzie's living the dream, as he says. Stewart firing through with Stephen Lyons. What a battle this is between two of the guns on respective parts of the globe.
This is good hard racing between these two ultimate professionals, great drivers as they put a lap on Taylor Milling.
Just watching Sean Bradford in the background there as well. Here's the trouble for Shane Stewart. The car just all of a sudden pulls up dramatically in the middle of a fantastic battle with Stephen Lyons for second place. We hadn't even sighted this man, Ryan Farrell, flying away. Driving the Bunbury Auto Group entry, Russell Hall's Bunbury Auto Group behind him as always, and he just smashed them. A tremendous drive. He got the win over TK, Tim Kading, great job in the Quickie Motorsports car, and a podium for Luke Dillon. A satisfying result for the South Aussie over Lyons, McFadden, Element, Bradford, Nick Lacey, one of his best results in position 8, Daniel Pesca in 9th, and Jamie MAIOLO 10th. Shane Stewart actually recovered, restarted the car, and ended up 11th. Sean Bradford has hurt the motor though. They've got problems coming into Albany for tomorrow night. Coming up after the break, we head to Albany, Attwell Park Speedway, where the boys fire up for qualifying. So here we are, sun beaming over the top of Attwell Park Speedway in Albany. And this little Western Australian circuit with a very strong club behind it. Got an outstanding crowd. As we watch Nick Lacey starting to find his feet on these bigger, wider racetracks. The Video Easy Karcher number 26 came in 6th quickest. That's a good result for Nick, Jack.
That is, great job. His first time here at this circuit, and good to see him qualify in the top 6. Always difficult learning new tracks. As we see Ryan Farrell, fresh from last night's victory down at Manjimup, he timed in 5th fastest.
Yes, fresh off that win last night at Manjimup. A lot of people expecting him to be just as strong tonight. Stephen Lyons, home turf for the team. So, Jack, this is the place where Brian Hall has built up his empire, a proud Albany family, and Lyonsy with a lot of local support. He's a South Aussie. West Aussie's forgetting that tonight.
It's great that the championships comes over here to Western Australia so the teams can have home races wherever they go, and Stephen Lyons will be definitely one to watch tonight. See Brad MAIOLO in the 77 machine. He did a great job. Only a couple of rounds this year in the World Series, and he's timed in 3rd fastest.
Yeah, great to see these mile-up brothers, Jamie and Brad MAIOLO. Jamie MAIOLO, Brad's elder brother, who's been doing this a little bit longer than Brad, actually has a son named Toby. He's about, 5 years of age. He already owns a sprint car. And it's a Donny Schatz winning J&J. Dad Jamie bought it off Luch Monty. It sits in the shed, and it's Toby's when he's old enough to drive it, in about 11 years' time.
That's a cool story. Good to see the young blokes getting involved at an early age. Shane Stewart there in that monster car definitely found some form in the back end of the season. They timed in 2nd fastest.
Here is TK, Tim Kading, and he would be fastest man around the racetrack in Revolution Race Gear qualifying. Ran a strong 2nd place last night at Manjimup. And now the Toyota Parts and Accessories car really starting to come good. They found a couple of things with the chassis. They reckon they've got some things sorted out, and TK in very good touch. That car is going forward. You can just see how quick it is on the racetrack. A 12.561, and it's quick time for Tim Kading here at Albany. Chad Naylon's about to catch up with him on the infield.
Second time so far for NZ World Series. We've seen this man getting quick time. I'll put this in your hands. It's an American 1-2. There's only 2 of you here, and you're right at the top.
Yeah, we got this Kirky Motorsports hot rod rocking and rolling. This track kind of suits us like we do it. We have back home, so we just freed her up after hot laps there, went out and just legged her around here wide open. So it was definitely nice.
On the podium in Manjimup, you guys have definitely found something with this car and a big step forward.
Yeah, we definitely found some stuff wrong with the cool chassis, so we did some changes over the week, fixed it, and we definitely got ourselves a bad hot rod right now. So we're going to go out and just try to rock and roll around here, get some points, and hopefully start up front in the main event.
What's an emotion? Give me an emotion that you've been feeling so far. Frustrated?
I don't even know if it's frustrated. I know it may be something else that starts with an F word, but it's definitely one of those years that, definitely put in the scrapbook, and hopefully come back next year and just try to have some fun and do it all over again.
A few more nights left. Go get him, TK.
Thank you.
Yeah, he seems like he's in a good frame of mind right now. I think they know they've got a bad hot rod, as Shane Cricky would call it. DK leads the time trial situation there from Shane Stewart. Brad Maiolo, superb job for Brad. Lyons, Farrell, Lacey, well done again, Nick Lacey. Top 6, McFadden, Bradford, Element and Pesca with his first time here at Albany as well. Let's go to the pits right now with Chad Naylon. Is with, local Stephen Lyons.
A top 5 spot for the Halls Haulage team, and Stephen Lyons is, kind of a local character here tonight. He's from Mount Gambier, but he's driving for the Albany boys. Are you feeling the local love tonight?
Yeah, there is. It's good to see a good crowd and everyone coming behind and support. Obviously, I've been well supported by Halls Haulage and Halls Motorsport at Albany, so it's great to see all their close family and friends around and enjoying the speedway.
Has the team been pretty excited about getting down here?
Yeah, for sure. I think Brian's he doesn't say too much, but I think he's been looking forward to it. And obviously got some really good sponsors in Bridgestone, Tyson and Albany and CJD Equipment that back us that are local. So they're back on the hill and we'll see if we can put on a show for them.
You did manage to pull a few more points back on James last night. Do you still think you're a championship hope?
Oh, he'd have to, we'd have to have some luck. He's done a really good job early in the year and put himself in a position now where it's hard to chase. But we'll just keep trying to, nudge away at it. We've been good over the last sort of six to 8 weeks, and we'll just keep doing the best we can, and that's all we can control. So we'll see where we end up at the end.
He never sounds overly excited, Stephen Lyons. He's one of those guys that plays everything down. He puts himself under an enormous amount of pressure, but he's one hell of a race car driver. Here we go. Highlights of heat race action now. Steve Court, unfortunately, turns the 9, gets touched rather heavily by the 99 of Jamie Maiolo, and that rips out the front end of Steve. Just backs you in a little too hard. Unfamiliar surface for him, Jack, and around he goes.
It's always a difficult one. We see on the injectorsonline.com replay, when you bomb into turn 1 on the inside, fresh from time trials and things, and he's just got in there, a bit too hot, lost the rear, and it's a bit of a shame there for Jamie Maiolo to tag that car because everyone else done a pretty good job to get out of the road. Unfortunately, he couldn't quite sneak through.
Might have actually been James McFadden's crash bar that did the final bit of damage as we see that immaculate number 9 car. Great shots from in the crowd here at Albany's Attwell Park Speedway. Man, I've seen a lot of races around this place back in the day, and it's great to have tonight legendary West Aussie and former world number 2 motocross star Jeff Leask racing here this weekend. Cameron GESSNER, great job from him. Good shots down low in the crowd. Also in the crowd here tonight, the Collins family. Troy and Casey Collins and their 2 little girls. They have travelled the entire series in their Toyota Prado. 17,000 kilometres they put on the Speedo. They didn't miss a round, Jack.
That is really cool. That is so good to have great spectators like that commit to the whole series. We've got a replay now. That looks like Daniel Harding's lost the rear of the 12 machine and he spun to the inside of the track, and all the competitors behind him, see Stephen Lyons there, Taylor Milling, done well to just miss the front of that 12 machine.
Wow, track is catching everyone a little off guard right now. It's very wide. There is Troy Collins. That's the man I was speaking of. One of the World Series Sprintcars super fans sitting there. Lives in Secret Harbour in Western Australia, but don't tell anyone, it's a secret. Oh man, Sean Bradford. Now watch this. Let's listen to this. That is a massive, what we call a bike, Jack. The car got up on the outside wheels. He almost saved it. Our injectorsonline.com replay in slow motion here. Look at him working the wheel. Keep your eye to the left. You can see that the horizon tilts. He's balancing the car right now, and he just runs out of racetrack and slams the wall.
Yeah, that's a great shot and a great replay of what happened there. And it's a decent hit that's done a lot of damage to the car, and luckily he's okay. As we look now front on, you can see him up on 2 wheels there, and he can't get it down. and then crash straight into the fence.
Yeah, that's the big one. He held it forever. Look at that. He almost drove out of it, Jack. But the wall, unfortunately, interrupted the recovery. And there you go. The world spins on its axis. We've all been there. It's just normally at a party somewhere. Here we go. Back restart situation. Thanks to injectorsonline.com for that cool replay. As we see Luke Dillon and the man I spoke of, Jeff Leask. He's doing a little better than Sean Bradford right now.
Well, drummers for one of the local West Aussie races. That's the old wing, but don't worry, we've got plenty more where that came from. Sean Bradford with a new wing on this car. That's the man himself standing at the back of it. He's the perfect guy to ask exactly what went wrong.
Yeah, mate, I think I hooked the rut, I'd call it there. I don't know if it was a rut or a ledge there, Chad, but anyway, the car biked and I sort of caught it and tried to ride it down, but I was just running out of racetrack, ended up hitting the wall and knocked the top wing off. So, and rolled the left rear off the rim. So we've just changed the top wing, got a new one on and remounted the tyre. We'll get for the next heat, but the DNF will probably hurt us for the lineup for the A main.
Yeah, if only it was that simple. Unfortunately, the second heat race performance for Sean was also going to have a critical impact on his night. Rolling around, getting ready to take the green, he gassed her up and stuck it straight in the wall. Why is that? The injectorsonline.com replay doesn't give us a huge amount of clue. He just goes to gas her up here into turn one, and there you see it just go straight in. Something definitely happened steering-wise with that 57. And there's more dramas for Sean Bradford. Can't believe his bad luck. Now he's finally back in the West and back home. So when the heat race did get underway, Carl Dowling doing a very nice job in the DeCandelo Steel City 87. Amongst other things, this young man has a slushy machine in his transporter. Don't tell me that doesn't get good points with you, Jack Perkins.
That's pretty cool, and well presented, that 87 machine. Good to see some Western Australian locals. As we look now, Jeff Leask out the front of heat number 4. Pretty cool to see him racing. He's pretty famous back in the day, and cool to have the KTM colours aboard his machine.
He raced in a 3-car Jeff Kendrick team, the Quit team, back in the day around Claremont Speedway. And I saw him around this track once back in the day as well, but that was in a Toyota 4Runner in the pouring rain long after the lights were turned out. So he's a real character. The HSC Rentals KTM number 7. His sons Thomas and Christian here this weekend crewing on the car as well. Nice job for Leaskey.
Heat races 1 and done, and TK is our top points guy after that round of heats. He's going to be going through the top 8 shootout in that goal position. But it's the kid behind him that I want to talk to right now. He's chatting with his new crew chief here this weekend in Pete Capor. Now this guy is the reason why Brooke Tatner was so successful for so many years in NZ World Series racing with the Cricky boys, but pitted next to them is Daniel Peska, and Peska's going to be going through towards tonight's top 8 shootout as well for the 3rd time this season. Has Pete been a good influence on this team so far?
Yeah, definitely. I made a few little changes. Just the shock package. We don't really know a lot about shocks and never been taught a whole lot. So Pete's come in and showed us a little bit of different stuff to do with that, and it's worked.
Yeah, it sure is. Peter Caporn doing a great job with Daniel. Ryan Farrell leads by 1 point over Tim Kading. Stephen Lyons right in there as well. This is after heat number 2, or their second round of heats. So getting towards the A main, those guys in blue are into the top 8 shootout. The guys in green, they're into the A main. The guys in the red, they're starting down the back of the A main currently. We're going to change that around a little bit. We're going to do some shuffling. The Vortex Wings top 8 shootouts coming up. And so too is an open red with Stephen Lyons and Bryony Ingerson. And we talk racing rubber with Chad Nailon.
Stephen Lyons, there's no rest for the wicked. We've managed to drag you away for a couple of minutes from the team. Now, 2 seasons with Luch Bonte Motorsport. You're joining the Horse Motorsport team for this season. Tell us why that change came about.
I did 2 seasons and I really appreciate what they did for me at Monty Motorsports. Gave me a huge opportunity, and I was happy with my time there, but I just felt like we needed to change. Brian Hall actually approached me, and one thing leads to another. It's just been really good for me. I obviously really appreciate what them and the boys have done for me and believed in me, so going forward looking good.
So how does it work? Because you're based in Mount Gambier and you work for the Halls Motorsport team in Mount Gambier, but the team's based in Western Australia. How does that work out?
Yeah, just the way it panned out with Craig Bennett being a crew chief from Geelong. We just decided that it was easier if we grabbed the truck and everything from Albany, take a bit of pressure off of Brian from over here, and I just work for him full time back at home in Mount Gambier, got a shed there, and it all works out really good.
Is it where you imagined you'd be at this point in your career? I mean, working full time for a team is pretty unique in Australian sprint car racing anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely. No, I never thought it would be, where it goes, but you just keep trying to concentrate on today and hopefully things open up tomorrow.
You're a 2-time Grand Annual Sprint Car Classic champion, but almost under the radar a little bit in Australian sprint car racing. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, it is a little bit, which I don't mind being like that. It's, if we just go out and perform and do our thing and, obviously try and push for as good as results as we can.
You said your most recent classic win was the greatest victory of your career. Why was that?
Because, they're both special in their own right, but this one meant a little bit more. I had Craig Bennett, who pretty much taught me everything I knew as a young fella and then pushed me away, and I went and learned a lot and come back and just to be around a lot of friends and family and a lot closer knit team. It meant a lot to me, and just a lot of people that have put a lot in and finally to give them something back.
Recently you won the George Tatnell Cup as part of World Series Sprintcars. What did that mean to you to win a race with his name?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously a great racer in his own right. I got to meet him a couple of times, and he's obviously, look at the record books, he's done a lot in his time, so it's really an honour to win it in his behalf, and obviously racing a lot with Brooke and all that sort of stuff, it means a lot to a lot of people, so it was a great achievement.
Who was your idol growing up?
I'd have to say probably Max. He was always good. He's just he's always there. He's just solid. So I sort of turned to him a little bit.
Finally, Steve, if you were to share a bottle of Amadio wine with anyone of your choosing, who would it be?
I'd have to say, I'm sure Steve Kinser's got a lot of stories to tell. Someone like that, been around a long time, and obviously a lot of people look up to. So it'd be good to sit down and have a talk about things.
Thanks so much for your time, Steve. We'll let you get back to preparing the car.
No worries at all. Thank you.
Sprint cars have changed so much over the years since they evolved from super modifieds like this one. They've become lighter, the engine's more powerful, the wings, well, look at it. But a lot of speedway guys will tell you that the biggest development is down here, in the tyres. Modern sprint car tyres are ridiculous. It's almost laughable just how big they are. Sure, they might look like a road car tyre that spent too much time in the gym, but that sheer size is the key in helping these cars to deliver all 850 horsepower to the dirt track. Now you'd be amazed just how much there is to talk about when it comes to tyres, but today we'll stick to the basics. First of all, we have a new tyre supplier this season in American Racer. They supply all rear tyres for the series. Travelling to every round across the country, the American Racer truck carries around 320 tyres to every track. Now, in most forms of motorsport, you have different tyre compounds, which is how hard the actual rubber is. A softer tyre is faster, but a harder tyre lasts longer. American Racer supplies 2 compounds of right rear tyre, with the softer tyre being the popular choice amongst the teams. On the left-hand side, we have 3 different compounds, with the medium rubber used the most. But one thing that is unique to Speedway concerns those left rears. They don't just come in different compounds, they also come in different sizes. There are 4 different sizes of left rear tyre. The smaller the tyre, the more the car wants to turn left. While there are plenty of things the teams can do to the tyres to get them to work the way that they want them to, the biggest factor is air pressure. Sprint cars run incredibly low tyre pressures compared to street cars. A road car tyre is inflated to about 30 to 35 psi, but sprint car tyres operate between 5 to 10 psi. This allows the tyre to flex, which helps the car to turn in the corners and lay the power down out of the corners. It might not look important, but these fat tyres allow the cars to maximise their power, weight and downforce, which is simply what makes them so fast. There's a great atmosphere in the pits here tonight in Albany. It's a really strange thing when they open the pits up halfway through a race meeting. It's nearly top 8 shootout time. The queue for Shane Stewart's autograph's always a long one. Shane, we're very, very happy to see you in the top 8 shootout tonight.
Yeah, it's good to be in the top 8 shootout. I haven't been in too many of them this year, and
Last night we were able to start third, and tonight hopefully we can improve that by a couple more spots and start in the front row, which we haven't been able to do all year. So my guys have put together a 4th race car for me, and most teams would never do that. So can't thank them enough, and they've been working extremely hard for me, and I've been trying to give them 100%, but I know it doesn't always look like that when I get out there on the track. But anyway, they work hard for me, and I greatly appreciate it. And in the last couple nights, 3 nights, it's been paying off.
We'll let you sign a few more autographs as we have a bit more of a chat. I know Manjimup was oh so close, man. You ripped through the entire field and you were chasing down Ryan Farrell towards the end there. What was the drama there? A cracked radiator?
Yeah, we actually found it when we were washing it, a cracked radiator, and what happened is it blew all the water back onto our what we call our mag, and I guess it either shorted one of the switches, but we're just assuming that it's something electrical. At the end of the day, you really don't know what caused it to stop, and I was actually kind of shocked that it started back up, but it did, and felt like I needed to try to pass a few cars and try to get as many points as I could. And definitely a bummer of a night for us. We definitely had a good enough car to win the race, and felt like we could. And anytime you let one of them slip away, it kind of hurts a little bit. But you know, I felt like we rebounded well tonight. Track conditions tonight are pretty bleak. It's so hard to see here, and I know it's hard for the crowd too, but it's extremely hard behind the wheel. And but they're doing track prep, and like I said, we're in the top 8 shootout, and hopefully we can get the Monster New Drink Milwaukee Power Tools car to start up front and put on a good show for the fans.
Good on you, Shane. We'll let you get back to signing autographs, so there'll be an absolute riot down here in a minute. Looking forward to seeing Shane Stewart in this top 8 shootout, and hopefully tonight's the night for him.
Well, Shane Stewart doing very well, but there's dramas in the Bradford camp. The boys are preparing, unfortunately, to pack things up here before the A main. That's a real shock. Chad has got more on what's happening with the number 57.
Nearly A main time, and the latest news from down here in the pits is that Sean Bradford will not be tacking onto the back of this A main. He is out. Now, the reason for that, we're going to go back to heat race number 1, where Sean had that original accident. They thought they got the car fixed, but unfortunately, this part here called the steering box was actually damaged internally. Now, this is a new steering box that's gone in. The steering wheel goes on top. It sits between Sean's legs and operates the entire steering mechanism. It broke, and that's what pitched the car to go into the wall. Now, the first bit of damage that it did is down here, the right front of the chassis. You can pretty much see where it's all squared off there and bent. That's exactly what happened when the car turned right into that wall. Now, usually you could still race with that. We saw Tim Kading do that over in Sydney, but the real damage that's taken them out of the night is behind the engine. Look at this. This is the engine plate, and these threads were connected to the rest of the chassis, or one of the places, and it's pulled that entire motor forward, and that is enough trauma and enough damage to take Sean Bradford out of the night.
Coming up after the break, the boys are going to shoot it out for pole at Albany, and then it's the 30-lap A main to decide who wins the next round of NZ World Series Sprint Cars, presented by Hog's Breath. Welcome back to NZ World Series Sprint Cars, presented by Hog's Breath Cafe. And it's time to fire up, as they do with those legendary prime ribs. Ben Element rolling out to the racetrack, along with that man there, Brad MAIOLO, in the Osquip Industries LJM Produce, number 77. Daniel Pesca, just getting better and better. The story of the series, I think, as he gasses up the Gawler Farm Machinery, number 27 J&J. And you're watching the Vortex Wings shootout for pole position. This is the bronze, and it's one of Jack Perkins' favourite parts of the evening.
It's such a great part of the night in World Series. Competitors go out there and they need to do the best lap time they can, and the two progress from the bronze section into the silver section. We see Ben Element now in the number 44 machine. He's doing a great job here tonight with a 12.841, just a fraction quicker than Daniel Pesca.
He's a gasser as Ben Element in that J&S drilling entry. Brad MAIOLO really stepping up here tonight at Albany. Have a look how hard they drive off the left rear. It's a big, wide racetrack, this Albany. And great job for MAIOLO making his Vortex Wings top 8 shootout debut along with Nick Lacey in that Video Easy Karcher, number 26. Great to see Nick starting to get some good results, Jack. It's been a very difficult season for him.
It has. He would have been disappointed, but always good for your confidence when you qualify well and you time well here. And a first appearance in the shootout, it only gives you more and more confidence every time you make the next one.
Ben Element and Dan Pesca going forward. Element, with a bloodline like his, he could win the Kentucky Derby. The Element name, very, very strong in history in Western Australian Speedway. This guy gets better and better. They thought they'd hurt the motor last night. It overheated. He had to stop with only a few laps to go in the A main at Manjimup. Ended up charging back to position 11. The event, he actually finished it, which surprised a lot of people. Element gassing it up right now in that J&S Drilling number 44, running both 410 and 360 cubic inch cars over the next few weekends. He'll contest the Australian 360 cubic inch title at Bunbury very soon.
That's a 12.906, 1/10 of a second slower than what he did in the bronze shootout. As we look at Ryan Farrell, this guy's got an enormous amount of talent, local Western Australian, so much speed on board that machine, and he's done a 12.85, a fraction quicker than Element.
This guy continues to improve dramatically. The Gawler Farm Machinery, number 27, also backed by Fuchs, with Peter Capehorn helping normal crew chief Brad Leppy on this car. And Daniel out on the road without mum and dad, and the sisters, they're back home at Strathalbyn running the family bakery. The young team doing a good job and learning more every time they go out there. Shane Stewart driving the Monster Energy Milwaukee Power Tools, number 7. And Shane's starting to get to familiar territory for him. He's run here last season with the Monty Motorsports team when he picked up the drive and continued on from Stephen Lyons.
So he's gone quickest in the silver section with a 12.725. That's an impressive effort, a 10th quicker than Ryan Farrell, and both those competitors straight through to this gold section.
Here's the guy that set the Revolution Race Gear quick time earlier tonight, Tim Kading. The cream always rises to the top, regardless of the format, Jack Perkins, regardless of whether it's supercars or sprint cars, you generally see the cream rise.
That's exactly right, and there's 4 very handy steerers in this gold shootout as we watch Shane Stewart lap with a 12.85, the same time he did in the silver shootout.
Stephen Lyons, the Halls Motorsport number 3 car with a lot of fans here tonight. Kading, Farrell, Lyons and Stewart. Who's going to be the fastest man of this 4? They'll be on pole position for tonight's 30 lap A main. I love the way Lyons hustles the car.
He's impressive to watch, and like I said, these 4 guys really put bums on seats at speedway racing. They are real flat-out racers. We see Ryan Farrell not an inch to spare there as he's looking for the quickest lap around this track as possible.
12.802. It's good enough at the moment to be on the pole position. Can Tim Kading spoil that? The Toyota Parts and Accessories, Cricky Motorsports, cool, also backed by AJC, Jason Harris on that front wing. We look right across it there at the moment. Also backed by PWR. The Cricky family have a long association with Paul and Key's wheel. As we see Kading go to quick time and he gets pole position. So things are going swimmingly for the number 2, and he will start on the front row with Ryan Farrell, Lyons, Stewart, Element and Lacey, Brad Maiolo and Dan Pesca. That's how they line up the first 4 rows of your NZ A main tonight. Wow, TK in some good form. Maybe tonight's the night he'll get his first World Series Sprintcars main event win for Cricky Motorsports.
Time now for the NZ A main, the all-important feature race for the evening, and it's set up to be a cracker. A great circuit here at Albany as we see Steve Lyons pushing off to start the race. I'm very much looking forward to this one, Wade.
Very, very established crew chief working on that car, Craig Bennett out of Victoria. A man who's been around the game probably for 40 years in various facets of the game as we prepare to push off. And that is Shane Stewart. As the Dan Pesca, number 27, also comes up. A lot of onboard action for us in this A main. Looking forward to getting a bit of a driver's perspective on it all. And JP, a couple of guys doing a pretty handy job tonight. Brad Maiolo, nice work from him. Also Trent Pigden, starting to show that he's learned a fair bit from being on the road this year.
It's cool to see a couple of Western Australians going well on home soil. Always helps having a bit of extra experience as we check out the starting grid for this A main. Tim Kading on the pole, Ryan Farrell next to him on the front row, Steve Lyons and Shane Stewart on the second row. Should be a great run to the first corner.
A little bit further back, you got Carl Dowling. Look where James McFadden is, Jack. We've hardly sighted the Australian champ tonight. He's out of position number 14. You see that Sean Bradford's name is listed there. He is not a starter, though, in the end. You saw he had dramas earlier, which Chad reported on in the pits, as the monster car comes back out onto the racetrack. McFadden, not the points haul he needs. He's got Lyons and Stewart breathing down his neck at the moment, Jack.
It's an odd night for McFadden. They haven't got the setup sorted here, and they've had a few dramas, but they'll be looking to maximise the points. And while the competitors behind Steve Lyons and Shane Stewart, they'll be also trying to take some points away and close that gap to the championship lead.
McFadden actually changed an engine last night at Manjimup. It was a precautionary thing in the end. Didn't have long-term damage, but they have just been a little bit rattled. A lot of talk around, is James points racing? And Jack, it's different when you're trying to defend a championship. You're not just going out there and doing it the way you normally do it. Sometimes that can change your whole plan and the way the cars react around you. As we see a standing room only crowd here at Albany, they really do love their sprint car racing and their speedway down here in this beautiful seaside community.
It's interesting touching on James McFadden leading the points. Often when leaders go into the last few rounds trying to be conservative, they make mistakes, the team make errors, because the way they've got to the front of the championship is by leading, showing their hand, getting right out in front, doing what they do best. And, it's a tough one. You just definitely want to finish these races and maximise the points. As we go to a start now, and it's a clean getaway at the moment. Ryan Farrell's got the jump over Tim Cade into turn 1.
Watching Pesca right through the middle here. Shane Stewart up high. Lines down low. The usual players up the front here, but look at Pesca on the inside coming after Shane Stewart. What a difference a bit of confidence makes. Pesca goes by Lines. That's a massive drive.
Yeah, this is pretty cool for Pesca. Young bloke racing against some of the biggest names in the sport. We see that's a left rear flat by the look of it on the 12 car. What a shame, because that's turned the car around and they've got a yellow light.
Now, Daniel Harding is out and Nick Lacey has ground to a halt. Can this team take a trick? Just remarkable. Here's your injectorsonline.com replay as we look out the back. Man, some frantic early corner action here. Just see down the bottom was Kading. Up very, very high just then. Stewart goes through the middle, and here's where you see Pesca just get a really good run. Straight by Kading on the bottom side. Frantic racing. Oh, where would you like to look? It's going on everywhere here.
This is great stuff. These injectorsonline.com replays are awesome. Great onboard shots showing you the action. We're looking back at the number 1 car, James McFadden. He's just trying to keep his nose clean, keep out of trouble, maybe pick up a couple places when he can.
So it's a very wide racetrack, this joint. As you can see, the boys powering out of turn number 4 here. Great shots of our onboard. We'll take a quick break and come back with more from your A-Main at Albany in Western Australia. Welcome back to Albany in Western Australia. There is Daniel Harding. They're putting a new left rear on his brother Trevor Harding, working on that car frantically. The Suicide One Life Prevention Program entry. They're giving him 2 minutes to get this tyre. You can on the first lap. If you cut down a tyre on the first lap, Jack, you can replace it. Not like the supercars where you can duck into the pits. It's live, 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 baby, with us.
It's a good fair way to do it. Often in the first lap, there's always a bit of carnage, and if there's a caution period, then enabling the teams to change that tyre and get the competitor back out on the track, that's good for the fans.
Shane Collins, race director, then just saying, come on, guys, get going, and away goes Daniel Harding. His granddad was a legendary cat in Australian Speedway, the Ghost, Trevor Harding. And of course, his dad is Trevor Harding as well. He won an Australian Formula 500 title. Daniel and Trevor both have had junior solo motorcycle careers, and also Australian Formula 500 championship wins. So the family has a very, very pronounced history in the sport in WA. Rolling around at the complete restart right now. Farrell was lethal off that first start. I wonder whether TK will be caught napping on this one, Jack.
It's an interesting one. These two are a bit rare together on the front row this season. TK hasn't been on the pole yet. We see Ryan Farrell with a great jump on the outside, but TK holding stations on the inside to 1.
Farrell opens up the outside. Can Kading glue it to the bottom? No, he can't. Look at that, 3 and 4 wide coming out of turn 2. Cameron GESSNER. You can see how wide this place really is, Jack.
Yeah, pretty cool racetrack. Looking very racy tonight. The cars are going 2-3 wide. As we look at the back of GESSNER now, he's doing a good job charging through the field.
Oh, Dowling very nearly had contact from a car behind. Dowlow trying to sneak up the inside, and there is McFadden. There's a defending champion off to the far left. Dowling staying down low. J-Mac trying to work the top side. They've still got a bit of drive. Just see Carl picking up the front wheels then, that number 87, DeCandelo Steel City car.
He's really working the bottom. There's Carl Dowling in that 87 machine. Jumping on with J-Mac now. He's on the top side, working that line hard. As we see MAIOLO there in the 77. Things are hotting up here.
He's done a great job tonight, Brad MAIOLO. J-Mac knows he's got to get some points in the bag. the 2 championship contenders, in fact the 3 of them, throw in Dillon, throw in Stewart and Lyons, they're all making up big time points on James this weekend. We've only got Bunbury next week and Kwinana the weekend after, so the championship could easily slip from his grasp. This is the battle right now for second. There's your leader, Ryan Farrell. The number 26 Diamond Bay Motorsports entry. That is a weapon car. They've been on a remarkable win streak, something like 7 races in a row or something like that. Incredible result. We go on board with Brad MAIOLO out of MAIOLO in Western Australia. Produce family are the MAIOLOs. His dad Larry gave Darryl Cricky his first ever opportunity in a main game situation with sprint cars well back in the day. And Jamie and Brad both raced very hard with Jeff Murphy, who's one of the legendary, in fact, a member of the Hall of Fame in Australian Speedway, spannermen and chassis constructors, Jeff Murphy, working on those cars.
It's pretty cool. Western Australia has a really strong sprint car racing pedigree, and it's good to see that carry on with a couple of rounds over here in the World Series, as we see Ryan Farrell, that TK and Shane Stewart have caught up to the back of him, and this is hotting up to be a 3-way battle for the lead.
Right on board with Ryan Farrell, cading, searching, trying to find some ground here that he can make up on Ryan. A little bit of a slick spot, about 3/4 track. Cading goes high. Stewart is right in there now. You know who else is in this? Daniel Pesca. Top 4 for the young South Aussie, doing a great job. Cading all over the back right now of the 26 of Farrell. They come up on Steve Cornt. Farrell squeezes by on the inside. Will he get through? Yes, he does. Good work. Kading now has to do the same thing as a head down the back straight away. Whoa, how quickly did he get through there? Kading goes high, trying to get the top side working on Corn. There was contact.
Oh, and Stewart's gone around there. What's happened? It looks like Kading's gone around the top side to sneak past that lap traffic of Corn, and he's clipped the front of Shane Stewart's car, who's got spun around and done a great job to rejoin.
Yeah, because if he'd stalled the car, he would have had to go to the rear of the field. So Stewart now a couple of spots further back. In fact, he's now back in position 6. He was in that 3rd place behind TK. Well, sprint car racing can be a willing old game. They're called sprint cars. They're not called go slow cars, are they?
No, and then there were 2 up the front here. We're on board with Ryan Farrell. He's doing a great job as TK's running the high side. Farrell's choosing to run it down low, both searching for grip. And look at the entry speed there that Tim Kading can run into the centre of the corner.
This has now put Daniel Pesca up into a top 3 situation. The young man out of South Australia looking for his career best result to finish on the podium here at Albany. We're back on board with Farrell in the Diamond Bay Motorsports, number 26. Harding now, a lap car between himself and 2nd place Tim Kading, who's searching around the bottom side. Pesca in that 3rd position. Lyons, bit of a lonely old ride for Stephen Lyons, not really going forward the way he would like right now, in 4th position. Luke Dillon in 5th and Stewart back in 6th.
One thing noticing now, half race distance, I really seems to think that the leading car of Ryan Farrell can just sneak through the lap traffic a little easier than 2nd place Tim Kading. That's given him enough buffer to maintain position quite comfortably.
MAIOLO here on board with Brad MAIOLO, who's having a cracking night so far. Stewart goes to the outside on Dillon. Wow, what a drive from Stewart. Man, I think he's a bit fired up right now.
As you would be. He's pretty disappointed to be running 3rd and then have that spin. Good thing he got going again. He's got a fast car. He wants to try and get back up into podium position.
That puts Luke Dillon back to 6th position right now. And, well, Dillon and Stewart and Lyons all battling for 2nd place. In fact, really still trying to get the championship win. Now look at Pesca. He is not far behind Tim Kading. You're watching the ENZED World Series Sprintcars, presented by Hog's Breath Cafe from Albany. And Kading needs to be a bit careful here.
He does. Pesca's closing in, and it touches on what I was talking about before. Kading, see, they're struggling to get past the lap traffic. He has a couple of goes and doesn't quite get it done cleanly, and this enables Pesca to catch right up to the back. And look at him, he's putting pressure on Kading on the inside.
Round 10 of 12 of World Series Sprint Cars, and Daniel Pesca, 21 years of age, actually battling with the Rookie of the Year honours with Tim Kading. He's a celebrated World of Outlaw star, but in the true sense of the series, he's a rookie on World Series. Pesca, every time he rolls out there, has told me, I want to beat that number 2. Maybe he might be able to do that. Oh, Kading, superb. Dive bombs under Harding.
That's what he needed to do. He needed to be positive to get the lapper out of the way and really try and consolidate position. As we see, Pesca now also gets rid of that lap traffic, so it's a dogfight now between the 2 for 2nd and 3rd.
Daniel realises that something special is just looming around the corner. We can see Lyons a little bit further back in that 4th position. I think Daniel's got the smell that there could be a podium in the air here. That Maxwell Racing engine. Maxwell's have been first, second and third and quick time on both of the nights so far. Right now, the top three guys all running Maxwell power plants, and their fast time guys have done a great job in the last couple of nights.
They have, and there's normally only a couple of engine builders that run up the front. Maxwell's one of them, and Kenny Mack up in Brisbane, which is where James McFadden works during the week. Those guys are the two best engine builders in the category at the moment, doing a great job. Back on board with Shane Stewart, and that's Luke Dillon back up the inside. Luke, who won the first two rounds of this championship, mellowed out through the middle of the season. He's finding a bit of form now at the end.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give up. He is an absolute battler, is Luke Dillon. Wow, Farrell dropping to the very low part of the racetrack here in that Diamond Bay. Russell Hall's Bunbury Auto Group, number 26, the Aussie outdoor entry. Back to the main straight, only a couple laps to go. Kading, Pesca, then back to Lyons, then Stewart and Dillon. We're right on board with a man looking to go back to back. He won the Mansion Up round the year before, and here he is again in very good touch with 1 lap to go.
Pretty cool to see Flying Ryan come out and join the series. He's a real flat-out racer, and he's really cool to watch. Good to see him having a good show. Looks like he might do 2 nights from 2 here.
Looking to put a move on Cameron Gessner, put him a lap down. Checkered flag at the ready. Ryan Farrell will look to wrap things up. 1 lap to go in that number 26 car. I don't see anybody stopping him. Pesca looking to get to second in the championship 10th round. That's a massive effort for the young 21-year-old. Checkered flag out. Ryan Farrell through the dust at Albany gets the win. Pesca got second. Third was Kading. Fourth was Lyons right behind him. Then back to Stewart. He's fast, this man.
He is. That was a mega impressive job there from Ryan Farrell to win 2 nights in a row in the only 2 rounds he's done of the series. And what's going on here?
A lot of feeling between Shane Stewart and Tim Kading. Tempers are boiling over, and a bit of a message there communicated through the positioning of the car. They're both heading towards the scales here right now. Stewart there in that Monster 7 is very fired up. Kading moves across the block, and there's even contact off the racetrack. It's getting very... Oh, look at Kading. He's fired up. He's having a few words through the roll cage. Just getting very cold trickle here.
This is obviously in relation to what happened about mid-race when Shane Stewart spun around. He was obviously disappointed with what happened, but it's one of those deals. It was a racing incident, trying to get past lap traffic, and these things happen in World Series.
Look at this. Stewart is steaming inside that balaclava. Shane Collins, a race director from World Series, told Tim Kading in no uncertain circumstances, get back in the car. He was about to launch out. That was the incident. Your injectorsonline.com replay. Now watch here. Kading comes back across the track. He got caught up in the marbles. He was quick to protect his line and get back on court. Unfortunately, Stewart was already there and was contact to the right front, which spent the number 7 spinning. I tell you what, the boys are pretty fired up on the infield. Very rare that you see these two have a word to each other.
Yeah, it's a tough one as we look again at the injectorsonline.com replay. All Tim Kading was trying to do was pass the lap traffic. He doesn't have a mirror. He doesn't know where Shane is. And unfortunately, he's cut back down across the front of him. He didn't know he was there. Bit of contact. Unfortunately, Robbins racing.
Well, you got to feel for Shane Stewart too. He was certainly looking at a podium finish just then. And look at TK. He's got the angry eyes on.
And back-to-back wins for Flying Ryan Farrell. Hey, this whole World Series caper doesn't seem to be bothering you at all. What's your back, fellas?
Yeah, no, mate, what an awesome result, you know, just what a season we've had. That's like 9 wins from 11 starts in this car this year. It's just so proud of the guys on this team, and I'm speechless. I really am.
You've still got 2 more of these rounds left in the West as well. Can we hope for another 2 wins?
Mate, I'm not finished yet. Just with the car we've had and the way we've been going, I can't see why not. Job's on.
Good luck, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done, Daniel Pesca. Superb job in second place. I get the feeling TK might be a bit fired up when Chad Nailon gets to him at the moment. Him and Shane Stewart had plenty to say, and the chilly night air here at Albany has certainly got hot between those two. Luke Dillon, nice job in 6th. Trent Pigden, career best for him. Well done in 7th place. Back to Element, McFadden and MAIOLO. Let's go to Chad, who's with a very fired up TK.
On the podium once more, which is the good part. A couple of words with a fellow countryman there as well, but as we move out of the way of all the drama happening at the minute, talk us through the conversation between yourself and Shane.
It just, we had a lap car there that kind of pinched me off coming off of 4 there, and kind of pinched into Shane there. It was a racing deal. I didn't mean to do it, but it's racing. This is why we're all out here. We're all out here trying to win. I mean, we started on front row and went backwards, so I definitely got to go back in my book and see what I need to do differently to make this thing a little better towards the end of the main event. I got to thank everybody in the Cricket Motorsports, but I don't race dirty. I mean, if Shane thinks that, he can think that, but you know what? If he tries wearing me out, it's going to end up being his bad. So it happens, and it's racing.
Some guy's trash is another guy's treasure, and Daniel Pesca certainly benefited from that situation involving TK and Shane Stewart, but to his credit, Daniel drove through on his own volition into second place, a career best. He's with Chad Nayland now.
Look at this. Second time on the podium for Daniel Pesca, and this is a very sweet result for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's my best career achievement this far, so no, great.
Sum this up for us, man. You've come all the way to the West. It's a track you've never seen before. Running with a new crew chief in your corner as well, and here you are on the podium.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good confidence booster after, last night we struggled a little bit, but the boys got things working and persisted on the bottom, and that's where it needed to be in the AMA, and that's where I stayed, and I was lucky enough to make up a few positions. And Pete's doing a great job, and Brad Leppy's doing a great job, and Trent's doing a great job, and it all just got going there in the end.
Well done, mate.
Thanks.
Championship's really heating up now. McFadden doesn't have anywhere near the buffer he'd be hoping for as we go to Bunbury. Lyons and Stewart still battling it out, and Dylan still hanging around in that fourth position. Kading strong in fifth. He and Pesca having a really good battle for the Rookie of the Year honours. We turn our attention to Bunbury City Speedway. In next week's program, it's the second last round of the championship. And Jack, we head to Bunbury, a big angry red oval.
Yeah, looking forward to another round over here in Western Australia. Great to be a part of the championship. A great night's racing here at Albany, and bring on the next one.
One more week to go for the second last round. We look forward to seeing you then on behalf of NZ and Hog's Breath Cafe.